Hey everybody, it's none other than me, your girl, the Hidden Lovr. And I am here for Goddess Thoughts Live Edition. This is the first show of the new year. I am excited and I hope, let me see. Yep, my mic is on. If you guys are tapping in, let me know if anybody tapped in, let me know if you can hear me. But I can see the marker, so I'm going to keep going. So again, welcome to 2026 with your girl, the Hidden Lovr, and with Goddess Thoughts podcast. And if anybody who taps in wants to jump on, definitely come into the live, and I will pull you up, and we can kind of talk. Because what I wanted to talk about today is something that has been coming up in conversations for me. I've actually talked to 5 different people, and I went to a writing session. And this thing that kept coming up was presence. Being in the present. What is presence? How do we live in the presence? How do we capture the present and be present? And so, that's what I wanted to talk about today. So to open it up, because this is different, I'm doing this one from the living room, podcasting from the living room. I'm doing this one different. And so what I decided to do is, because we were writing Sunday in the writing session about presence, I wanted to start with that, and I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to kind of go off of that and kind of go into my thoughts. So I'm going to read what I wrote. It's a little poetry, it's a little freestyle, a free verse, little story. So I'll kind of read it, and then I'll get more into it. So it goes like this. I almost lost my breath twice, lost in vision. Walking in a daze nearly caused another incision. Because see, I was focused with my head in the clouds, there was no presence. Because presently I'm stuck in the past, walking past these caution signs as the light turns from green to red. But I'm still walking, mapping my future till I heard a screech. This breach as my heart skips, rather jumps out my chest at this car that darted off the highway and missed me by nearly 1 inch. And if I hadn't seen the wave from this little girl, my head would have been in the phone, and it could have possibly just ended my world. And as I collided into another situation, I'm talking about less than 3 days later, again in the present and devoid of presence, which is becoming evidence because this time I was just a passenger sitting unaware, 3 seconds from being rear-ended. I mean, it was quick work with the wheel, and the driver saved my life, and guess what? I was still unaware. Because I'm finding, as I'm reflecting on living and loving life, the balance of the present with the past and the future. Because I'm stopping replaying the past and daydreaming of the future as I just exist in the present, being present with presence. As I unwrap this gift, this presence, and find the flow, existing to exist, no force, no pull, just steady as I go. Trust in the path, knowing sometimes the fork is in division. It's a marker, not left or right, but it's for you to decide, to make your own way as you stand there in that moment. Or you're going to allow it to guide your feet down another's road as you consent and remain to be complacent in this delusion that now controls your illusion, keeping you distracted as light refractions begin to alter the image, as we are now splintered into scattered pieces because we tend to remain lost in the present. And so I wrote that, and this is actually happened to me about right before the new year came in. Within 3 days, I was almost in 2 accidents. One car almost hit me while I was walking across the street, and I couldn't even have an anxiety attack or anything until after it was over, because when she missed me by this much, she jumped and she was like, oh my God, I never saw you. And she just kept saying, I didn't see you. I promise I didn't see you. Are you okay? Are you okay? Okay. And she was so nervous and she was so worked up because she literally didn't see me and almost hit me. So I couldn't even get upset and worked up because it's like, she was in that moment. But that was, again, she was in whatever in her mind, she wasn't in the present. If I hadn't looked up at, literally it was a little girl standing in front of me waving. If I hadn't looked up at that little girl, I would have been hit. Literally, that's what saved. And like I say, 3 days later, I was riding in the car and we almost got rear-ended. And the driver is the one who told me, oh my God. And then that's what made me look. And so it made me start thinking, like, we get so caught up in all these distractions and we forget we're not aware, we're not present. And I believe that was the message that was kept coming to me from above is, I have to be more aware and more in the present, and and don't allow the past or the future to distract you. I mean, because I was sitting here thinking about this today, and I was thinking, because a lot of times we don't understand where different things come from. Sometimes living in the past can a lot of times lead to depression. Living in the future can also a lot of times lead to anxiety. So, and those are things that a lot of people deal with. I've dealt with both, you know. I'm pretty sure in and out of different parts of people's lives, people have dealt with, and maybe not even knowing what it was because of different situations. Not necessarily chronic, but deal with it. And so, like, for me, it's like, how do you capture? How do you live in the present? How do you find the presence and understand that literally it's a present, it's a gift. It was granted to us, because even though we have to reflect on the past to understand and to grow and to learn our lessons and to process and let it go, you know, and we also have to plan for the future and be prepared for it. But it's when it makes us stagnant, when it becomes a distraction, when it becomes to the point where your normal life is now altered, your present day life is now altered because of something that has already happened or something that may never happen. And the crazy thing is, I want to kind of go off into the future too. A lot of times, you know, when we be thinking about the future, or we're constantly focused on the future, it also not only anxiety, sometimes it can lead to fear, or it can stop us in the present because we're fearing something in the future. And truthfully, fear 1% of the time, 99% of fear is things that will never actually happen. And if we really understand that, like, I think a lot of us will be more able to step out and jump off that cliff, step out and step into things, or even just not even worry about it, because like you say, literally 99% of the things that we fear in life never actually happen to us, or may not happen, you know, don't happen. I'm not talking about like calculated, it's just in general, just the average fears we have. And if we can find ways to come together within ourselves and even with other people to help each other as a community stay in the present. I'm sorry, my phone fell and I'm trying to get it back, but I am still here. So yeah, and so that was kind of my thought, like, how exactly do we stay in the present? So I'm going to start from my point of view, from how I kind of right now am staying in the presence with my own self. And what I've been doing a lot is I have been meditating. I literally every day, my whole schedule changed. And one of the things that changed my schedule and changed how I've been approaching, it started in the end of October going in November. I read the book Atomic Habits. And reading that book, Atomic Habits, I did it as an audiobook. Oh my God, it completely and utterly changed my life. Like, just understanding, you know, all the things that I learned. And I'm naturally applying that to my life. And it made me slow down, made me start planning, made me work better on time management, made me prioritize and understand. Me personally, I'm always trying to do everything. And it made me realize, pick one thing and then a second thing that may be able to complement or is lesser that can be done. Other than that, that's your goals. Start setting your goals. 90 days, 6 months, whatever it may be, it depends on what it is, but have that one main goal, and that's what you focus on. For me, it was poetry. And even though I love film, I love podcasts, I love hosting, I love doing a lot of different things, but poetry is my heart, you know, and it's my passion. It's what drives me, and it's what started everything I do. People who don't know my story, poetry is literally why I'm in 2023 is why I do everything that I have done now. Poetry was the start of that. And so it's like, I have a book and I'm trying to do all these other things. It's like, how are you even going to put this out? How are you going to do all these things and you're not even focused on poetry? You're doing these things, but they're just sitting to the side and they're collecting dust, and it's becoming a waste of my gift that was blessed and granted to me by the Most High, because He gave me these words, He gave me these voice, He gave me these things to share, and I'm becoming a creative hoarder. And it's like, we can't be creative hoarders. So for me, my biggest thing in the presence was not being a creative hoarder. Start putting stuff out. I have sat on so much stuff, and it was funny, I was talking to someone earlier. I have so much footage. Like, everywhere I go, I'm recording. So I have tons and tons. I have multiple stories, all this stuff. I have actual short films finished, that one which is going to the film circuit. So Artistry on the Floor, the first one, is going out to the film festival circuit this year and being submitted. Hopefully we will be picked up by somebody. But I have like stuff finished and I'm not putting it out because I'm doing other, it's like I get it done and I'm doing this and forgetting about, you got to promote this stuff. You got to put this stuff out. And you also got to, focus. Focus on what's important in your life right now. And I'm trying to, let me see if I can bring, I see you, T. Let me see if I can bring you up. Let me see. I just don't know what's going on. So if you want to give your comment and then I'll just read it, I'll go ahead and do that. But I'm going to keep it going because I'm not going to let this stop me. So basically what I was talking about is just being in the present and how I'm staying in the present right now. How I'm staying in the present is focusing mainly on poetry, and the things that I'm trying to do in poetry and as well as personally. And then I want to get into more of the personal side of living in the present, and being present and understanding how everything we do, and all the decisions we make, we are the sum product of our decisions. And sometimes we get caught up in decisions. Sometimes we get caught up in different things. But me personally, like I was saying, one of the things that has helped me right now personally as well as spiritually and even emotionally, because it was very emotionally charged through December. And I don't know what was going on, but I had a whole lot of emotions going on with everything around me. And I don't know if it's just that time of year, because that is an emotionally charged time of year. But I've been meditating. I've literally been sitting in the park and not even just meditating, just enjoying nature every day, 3 to 4 hours every day. I have been in some kind of park or woods, and it has done an amazing amount of work on my emotional, my spiritual, my mental, and allowing me not only to enjoy the presence, but be grateful for the present, to be appreciative for every little thing, like even just feeling the breeze on my face. And with that, it brought balance, and it brought my natural joy back, to where it's like, even though stuff happens, I can still wake up smiling. And I had lost that for a little bit. And that's what brought it back. And it made me realize too, staying to what works for you and not allowing other things to take you away from the formulas that have worked for you. And I think sometimes we can have a formula and it's working, and then all of a sudden we're doing good, and we forget the formula. We get pulled away from it and we get distracted from it. And sometimes getting back to the presence is getting back to what kept you successful, getting back to what made you stay on track or be focused, or mental peace of mind. And then spiritually, even creatively, I'm back creating again. And it also made me realize, and I say this to people from time to time, I have heard this from Tyler Creator. It made me start putting stuff out, stop procrastinating, stop holding on to it. There is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. It's done. Put it out. So that was also another thing of being in the present, understanding, putting out my work in the present, putting it out, because we get stuck in that editing loop, or that loop of it's not right, it's not perfect, it is. Just put it out, because you don't know. And nobody else knows what it is. Let the art breathe. Let the art be shared with the world. So don't be creative hoarders. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to a lot of you artists out there, because y'all know who y'all are. Y'all be hoarding in work and in words and music and scope, all this stuff that we need. You artists, stop hoarding your work, talking about it's passion and it's not finished. We need this. The world needs this. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of being, and sometimes being in the presence, like say, just put it out. There's no right time. The right time is any time, Cause like I was, with a group the other week, and they was talking about, like, sometimes stuff it may not pop off for 3-4 years. Some stuff is just timeless. How many things do we look at pieces of art and we look at it and we can look at it over and over again, and we always see something different in it and appreciate it more? How many times have you maybe listened to music and from 10, 20 years ago or even further, and you hear it now and it just gives you a different appreciation, it gives you a different mindset, or even it just gives you, but it's still, or it's just, you just jam into it and it still feels good because it's timeless. Because time is not, time doesn't really have a point of, it's a spiral. It keeps going. So just put the stuff out and be in the present. And I wanted to say that from the creative point, because that's something that I had struggled with, and I had to really realize, slow down, stop, and just be like, put out what you have and stop always jumping to the next thing. And that's a part of understanding and being where you need to be in the present too, and also too understanding. And this was funny because I was talking T before Pan. That's why I was trying to bring them up so we could get together on this one. I don't know why I'm doing me like this today, but I was also even talking about understanding no. And sometimes being in the present is telling people no. I can't do this right now. I have to focus on what I'm doing. I have to focus on my life. Or I have to focus on different things. And that, this has been one of the most difficult podcasts I think I have ever done. And I know I was talking about presence, but I'm going to talk about staying the course because, like, goodness, you know what I'm saying? Because I've really been trying to podcast like for the last couple of weeks, and it's been difficult kind of going. And I just been like, you know what? I'm just going to go on. I'm just going to pop up. I'm not going to keep making excuses. I was like, because normally I podcast from different places. I was like, today, you know what? I'm just going to do it from the living room. I'm just going to make it happen. And it's like seeing here and sitting in this right now, and it's like all these things, but still pushing through. And sometimes maybe that kind of ties into it, still pushing through. Sometimes being in the present is still pushing through and not allowing things to stop what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say. Because I'm going to say what I'm trying to say, and I'm not going to allow whatever's going on that's trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Because I'm going to speak because I got something to say. You know what I'm saying? I was granted this voice, so I'm here to use this voice, and I'm glad you guys can hear me now. So like that's crazy. Like, and I guess I'm going to kind of touch on that too for us podcasters. Like, y'all don't realize the difficulties we go through just to get y'all some of these clips and some of the things we do, the work it goes into, the research, like the lighting, like the sound, like we set up and we plan for all this stuff, and then you get on there and stuff like this happens. And it's like, oh my God, it's always a learning curve with doing what we do as far as podcasting. And I feel like that's like another lesson. Just keep going. You know, you learn it, and, you know, you could cut it off, you could stop, but at the end of the day, push through, break through that wall and keep breaking through. And I know that's a lot of times my lessons, because I always know whenever you're at the precipice of that breakthrough, that's when everything falls, all hell breaks loose, and everything just goes crazy when you're at that precipice of that breakthrough. But you bust through that wall and you keep going. You walk through that door, you jump out that window, whatever it may be metaphorically, but you just keep pushing and pushing through. And that's what I'm doing. And that's also understanding the presence and not allowing different things to distract you from what you are trying to do. Because we have a job, we have a mission, purpose, calling, or whatever we're trying to do. And we're not going to let those different things stop us from doing that. And you know what? And with that, I like that. I think I'm going to end on that. You got anybody want to send a comment? I see a couple of people. Anybody got any comments they would like to make? Because I can't bring anybody up for whatever reason. But if y'all have any comments about presence or anything I may have said, just let me know. I'm gonna put it in before I close out. I'm gonna give y'all a minute or two to type in. While I do that, I want to give a couple of shout outs too, and I want to say a couple of things which I never do. But it's a place. It's a coffee house, Art Essence. 1505 North Main Street. I definitely want to give them a shout out. I am going to be hosting and moderating a writer. It's called Use Your Words. Poet, writer, and artist mixer. It's going to be January 21st from 6 to 9. Like I said, Art Essence. This is a coffee house. They just reopened. It's got a new owner. I went in there today. It's amazing. So you guys definitely check it out. Also, any artists, they're looking for artists to put artwork up in there. Any artists, definitely tap in with them. So I wanted to give them a shout out. I wanted to give that, of course, to my book, poetry release. The book release is going to be February 14th, along with the event. Anyway, but that will be Empress of the Soul, A Journey Through Spirit and Verse. That is my first book. And so it's so cool. Right before, a month before my first book, I actually have the honor to host a writing panel and being a first time writer. So I could talk about some of the pitfalls and the things that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still doing it and I'm making it work. But man, I never knew, because I didn't plan on writing a book. Book just came, and then it's like it's come, and it's like all these different things you have no idea and I'm like learning. Like the more I learn, the more I realize, man, it is so hard to put out the book. It was the easiest part was writing it. So it's like I'm learning all these pitfalls and these different things and stuff. So I think that was just kind of cool, kind of tying in and bringing me into coming to the book release on the 14th, which is going to be an actual full-length event. There's going to be performance, music, refreshments, and everything. Like I said, I'm going to give more information, and it's February 14th, Valentine's Day, with your girl, the Hidden Lovr. So y'all definitely come for the lover's experience of the Empress of the Soul. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out, man. I want to thank you guys that stayed with me through all these difficulties. I don't know what was going on, but I think it was I just enjoyed it, because it was just me talking tonight. And normally when I podcast, it's other people and I bring people on, but maybe it was just for me to get my voice out tonight and say what I needed to say. And with that, as I always say, love and light, man, I want to thank everybody who tapped in and everybody who always watches me, everybody who support me so much. I'm just so appreciative and so grateful and so thankful for all the support and the people that keep pushing and keep inspiring me to do what I do. And my last word is this 2026, the sky's the limit, y'all. Let's do big. Go home, go big or go home. Like, the sky's the limit. We starting a new cycle. Thank you. I appreciate that. We starting a new cycle, man. It's our life. It's our reality. We shape it. Let's do it big. I'm talking to the millionaires and billionaires out there. Let's make this work. As always, love and light, man. I love you guys. Y'all enjoy it. And I thank you for joining me for another edition of Godless Thoughts.